Hello guys. Welcome to Top Quora Stories. In this episode of Top Quora Stories, we are here with some of the real ghost stories from Quora. So, I have named this episode Quora Ghost Stories. These are put forward by real person and may be disturbing. Don't come after me if you are haunted. Alright, by saying this, let's move to the question of the episode. The question goes like: has anyone had an encounter with a ghost in real life? Neman Ashraf, police constable, says,
I was temporarily appointed to guard a sick prisoner in district headquarters hospital. I liked this duty because it was just for 8 hours daily while my usual is 12 straight hours, and secondly it was calm and nice. I just sit there on a bench in hospital ward and read some old newspaper or have a look-see at those nurses. Got nothing to complain about. Everything was fine and alright, except the very person I was guarding. The old patient. He was tall and thin, old and feeble. I don't know what was he diagnosed with, but he was just a skeleton underneath skin. Big bald head, eyes popped out the sockets, mouth wide open. It was a torture to witness him taking vaccines. No muscle at all on limbs or butt cheeks. He was indeed enduring the worst phase of his life. You'd never find him asleep. Strangely, I never felt that pity or sadness for him, which I usually would for others. He was something else. I used to think while looking at him, he's not here. He is not looking at this front wall but some other realm waiting for his acceptance or approval. He's damned and cursed. I know this sounds strange. There was something astoundingly creepy about him, I am telling you. Anyway. I used to sit beside this man for 8 hours from 4 p.m. till midnight. He would not move or talk to anyone. He wouldn't feel anything, he wouldn't look around at all. Just a straight constant gaze on the front wall. It was my 4th day there. I was tired and filled with boredom, waiting for the next guard as clock was saying 12 a.m. There was complete silence and inactivity in the ward. To kill the boredom, I picked the magazine and tried reading it again. Barely few minutes passed and I felt sudden discomfort of some sort. I raised my head and found that old man's head is turned towards me and he's staring at me. I cannot explain the uneasiness it caused. Our distance was barely 3 feet as I was sitting on a bench right beside his bed. A straight and uninterrupted gaze like he's looking into my soul for a change. I gathered some courage and looked at him like we were into Who Blink's first challenge. I failed, of course. Soon my colleague appeared. I sincerely thanked God. We talked briefly and I handed over my rifle and log register. Next thing I was out of the hospital, took a cab and went to home. It must be around 1 a.m. when I reached my neighborhood. From there I had to walk on foot as streets are too narrow for vehicles. It is a 10 minutes walk to home. It's a routine for me to come home really late at night. I was walking calmly on desolated streets, packing a .30 caliber sidearm. I don't remember, but I must be thinking about my online activity for next few hours. I was single back then and lived with my parents. Finally I reached the street where my home is situated on the very end. What irritated me the most about this street was that nobody would turn on their outdoor bulbs except my mother, for me. It's a long and closed street and without any light it gets really dark. So yeah, our neighbors were cheap that way. On the very end, a light bulb outside my home was lit. Whenever entering my street, I automatically get a little cautious but calm down after finding nobody in the street. I heard of a few robbery incidents previously, so you can understand the reason. But that night, as I was entering, I saw somebody right in middle of street. I slowed down a little to observe. He was around 40 yards ahead, walking real slow, leaned heavily on the right side in a funny stance. He was in the darkness as the only lit bulb was on the end outside my door. He isn't a robber or a thief. My mind told me. I never halted but walked slowly towards him. It was just a matter of seconds for me to cross beside him and get to look at him clearly. Suddenly something snapped inside me. Something started screaming so loud in my head, for there's danger ahead. I am in danger. Who are you? I yelled loudly. And that's exactly when I was right upon him. I saw him. I saw his face. May Lord have mercy. That was the very same, very real sick old prisoner I left in the hospital an hour ago. Leaned to the right side, wearing the same gown, barefoot. He was looking at me as I passed by him. He turned around slowly and walked to me. I can't control the shiver even at this minute of writing. I did not run, but I walked super fast and reached my home. Rang the bell furiously and prayed to God that my father gets the door as soon as he usually gets. I kept pressing the doorbell while staring at that man approaching me slowly. What is going to happen if he comes near me? Should I shout or attack him? I cannot let this incident be an embarrassment for myself. Nobody should know I just got scared of something. Thankfully my father opened the door. Before going inside, I looked back. Nope, there was nobody in the street. My father went back to his room without noticing my sweat or tremble. Maybe I did good calming down myself. I went to my room, changed uniform and sat on a sofa. Thought about what just happened. This room has a door and window that opens towards the street as well. I did not see a ghost. No. How can this be possible? I remained silent and thinking of any legitimate reasoning that could defy this. Next thing I notice, somebody is in the street, right outside my window. I heard lamenting and lopage. I heard footsteps. A legit shiver ran through my spine. I am experiencing paranormal activity. There is a ghost outside my window. I didn't run to other room, I just sat there, leaned my head and closed my eyes to concentrate on the words he was mumbling. I couldn't understand. But I can tell you. He was mourning, expressing his grief. And then it stopped. No sound of any kind. I could feel that nobody is outside my home now. And then it struck me, why don't I call the goddamned hospital? I should talk to my colleague to ask how is our patient doing. I picked my mobile and lo and behold, an SMS from same colleague had arrived half an hour ago, saying, "Neiman, don't come for hospital duty tomorrow. Sick prisoner died shortly after you left. I am going home too. Let's take a day off and we'll report back to police station together." No matter how good I spin this to convince myself it wasn't paranormal, I fail. Because I saw him. It was him, this sick prisoner. But I don't believe in ghosts. What do I make of it then? What seems the best explanation of all this according to my knowledge and beliefs? Readers may disagree. It wasn't a case of hallucination. I saw someone, not human, I am stressing, who is capable of composing a good trick as this. Who could carry such a tremendous sinister and negative energy, is supernatural, can adopt any shape or form and can feel free to put out one hell of a show like this just for kicks and giggles. One being comes to mind. Jinn, the perfect conjurer.
What could that be? Do you think that's a ghost? Let's get it on comments. Use story 1 as a title of your comment and we will discuss on the matter. Anyways, right now we are up in top Quora stories, with some of the best real ghost stories put by real person. And the next story for real ghost experience is from Ashok Damija. He is a founder of JohnQuia.com, an ex-IPS, and a Supreme Court advocate, and he says,
"This is a real incident that occurred some 41 years back. I was about 17 years old back then. It was a small town with a population of less than 10,000 people. We used to play hide and seek during nighttime. We could hide anywhere in the town, which was about 1 kilometer long. One particular night, one boy from our team did not join us. We went to his house to inquire. He appeared to be quite frightened, yet he came with us. He informed us that just half an hour back he had sighted a ghost. It so happened that he was returning from the district headquarters by a public transport bus. Being the last bus, supposed to arrive in our town at about 8:30 p.m., there were only 4 to 5 passengers in the bus. When the bus was just about a kilometer away from the town, it had to stop as the narrow road was blocked due to a bullock cart having overturned on the road. This was an age when there was hardly any traffic on the roads. I'm talking of 1977. In the whole town, there were not more than 5 to 6 scooters and not even a single car. Even Maruti was yet to begin its production in India. Most of the people were used to bicycles for short to medium distances. As there was no way the bus could move forward due to the blocked road for next 1 or 2 hours. All the passengers got down and started walking towards the town, which was only about a kilometer away. Just near the place where the bus had stopped, there was a cremation ground. It was near this cremation ground that this boy apparently saw a ghost, whose bones were shining, with no flesh or body and no clothes on. This boy got so frightened that he immediately ran away from there and stopped only when he arrived in his home. I had become an atheist at the age of 13 years and had slowly developed scientific temperament. So, I did not believe in ghosts or any other supernatural powers. After listening to the story, I challenged him, saying that there are no ghosts in the real life, and that he might have seen something else, or there might have been some illusion. However, other boys in the group also supported him. I tried giving example of our chemistry teacher narrating as to how when you apply phosphorus on black cloth, it would shine while the black cloth would not be visible during night time. And that it was possible to apply phosphorus on the black cloth so as to make it appear like bones of a ghost. However, other boys did not agree with me and challenged me to go in the cremation ground myself and prove that there were no ghosts. I accepted the challenge. But, because no other boys were willing to come with me to or inside the cremation ground, so how do we confirm as to whether I had actually gone inside the cremation ground? So, we made a plan. It was decided that I would have to go to the cremation ground past midnight on a day when there is a death in the town. It was believed that when a dead body is set on fire in the cremation ground, for 2 to 3 days, the person who died roams around that place as a ghost. Therefore, there were more chances of there being ghosts on that day. It was further decided that in the evening a notebook would be kept in the cremation ground, containing signatures of all the boys in the team. And I had to bring back the notebook after visiting the cremation ground past midnight. This was just to confirm my visit so that I could not bluff. Further, an old shirt would be given to me which I had to keep near the burnt dead body in the cremation ground at the time of my visit. This was to doubly confirm my visit. A day came soon within a fortnight, when there was an unfortunate death in the town. The dead body was set on fire in the cremation ground. At about 6 p.m., all our team members went there and hid a notebook with signatures of all boys almost in the middle of the cremation ground. All of us came back. At that time, the half-burnt dead body was unattended because usually people return after some time after cremating the dead body. Being a small town, there was no attendant in the cremation ground. It was in the open field, about 1 kilometer from the town and about 100 meters off the road. As planned, all our team members assembled in the town and played our usual hide-and-seek game at nighttime. Past midnight, they accompanied me till the end of the town. Being scared, also because they fully believed in ghosts, they did not want to accompany me any further. This was my challenge now. So, I started walking alone towards the cremation ground which was about 1 kilometer away. I had a small torch in my hand and also a stick, to take care of snakes or any other emergency. And also the old shirt handed over to me by one of the boys which was to be kept by me near the burnt dead body in the cremation ground. It took me just about 10 minutes to reach the cremation ground. As I mentioned above, it was in the open field with no boundary walls. It was almost fully dark. I had full confidence that there could be no ghosts. However, there could be other risks such as of snakes or animals. There was a theoretical possibility that my friends could stage some drama to frighten me, like using phosphorus on some black cloth. However, I fully believed that none of my friends had the courage to go near the cremation ground at nighttime. Yet, there was a possibility of they having hidden something during daytime to frighten me. Therefore, I took cautious steps while entering the cremation ground. And, there I was. In the middle of the cremation ground. No ghosts were to be found there. And, there was a deafening silence. With the help of the torch, I could locate the notebook that was hidden by us during the daytime. Thereafter, I walked towards the burnt dead body, which was only about 15 to 20 m away from there. I waited there for 2 to 3 minutes. I kept the old shirt about 6 to 7 feet away from the burnt dead body. The dead body had been completely burnt by then. Yet, there was a little fire and some smoke coming out of that place. I stood there for about 2 to 3 more minutes, though with full caution. And, then, I turned around. No ghosts yet. The return journey took me comparatively less time. My friends were taken aback when they saw me coming back. Perhaps, they did not expect me to come back alive or in one piece. Early morning, next day, they got the confirmation by finding the old shirt at the designated place. Yet, they were not convinced. Some of them felt that the ghost might have gone somewhere else due to which I could not see it. A few years after this incident, I had accepted another challenge. Of staying in an abandoned house said to be infested by ghosts. For 36 hours. 2 nights and 1 day. Alone. I did that successfully. But, people would still not believe that there were no ghosts. Even though I won the challenge as per their own terms. Perhaps, wherever I went, the ghosts ran away. Thereafter, I have had many occasions where I could have faced a ghost, if one existed. Due to my service in IPS, I had the, unfortunate, occasion to see more than 1,000 dead bodies, of persons dying in violent or unnatural manner. For example, in 1993, I saw 55 dead bodies, completely charred, in one go when an Indian Airlines plane crashed near Aurangabad where I was the SP. As I was in the nearby vicinity at the time of the accident, I was one of the first 4 to 5 persons who reached the spot, in an agricultural field off the road, with burning aircraft and with burning bodies inside it. While some of the surviving passengers were nearby who had jumped out of it, there were 63 surviving passengers. I have moved in jungles at night time in Naxalite areas, where you can hear the sound of a pin falling on the ground. Have seen so many violent situations. It is generally believed that a ghost is created when a person dies of an unnatural or violent death, unlike a normal death. Yet, I never saw a ghost, in spite of having seen more than 1,000 dead bodies after unnatural or violent deaths. Why? Friends, ghosts are only for those who believe in them. I don't believe in them, and so they never come near me. Do you get the message? There are no ghosts in real life. Ghosts are only in your own mind. If you believe in ghosts, they are there to frighten you. If you don't believe in them, they are simply not there. Ghosts are simply non-existent. By way of illusion, by way of hallucination, they are created by us in our own imagination. It's something like this: if 100 persons tell the same lie, it becomes truth, or rather it appears to be truth, even if it is not.
Well, there you go. No ghost in real life is said by a soak. He may be true. What do you guys think? But if he is true, then what about the other stories where people are sure that they have seen it vividly? Let's discuss it further in comments. You can be specific by starting your comment with #2. Anyways, let's hear our another answer. This one is from Gina Usher, and she says,
I was working as a CNA at a nursing home. Every lunch break, I would go out to my car and nap for about 15 minutes. I fall asleep fast. It was summer, and Missouri summers can be unbearable, so I would turn on the air conditioning. Whenever I would do this, for some reason, after about 10 to 15 minutes, my car would start knocking. It didn't do it when I was driving. I had not noticed it before. A lot of the times, it was this knocking that would wake me up in time to not oversleep my break. One day, the weather was beautiful, and the temperature was perfect, so I decided to open the windows rather than using my air conditioner while I napped. Oddly enough, I was awakened by the knocking again, only my car wasn't running. My eyes flew open and I saw this lady in a white coat, like a doctor's coat, knocking on my windshield. I didn't recognize her and figured she was one of the lead nurses on another hall than mine. When I got out of the car, I expected to see her walking across the parking lot, but she was gone. I got back to my hall and told my lead nurse what happened in case that nurse decided to tell her I was sleeping in my car on break. Near the end of my shift, my lead told me that she went to talk to the other nurses about it and none of them knew what I were talking about. I was sure she was one of the nurses there. My lead nurse asked me what the nurse looked like, so I described her, and she got this confused look on her face. Then, she got up and walked into the nurse's office. She came out with a framed group picture of the nurses that worked for the nursing home, and there was the nurse I had seen. She even had the white doctor's coat on. Only, my nurse informed me that she passed away a couple of years ago. It turned out that I wasn't the only one who claimed to see her. Then, it occurred to me that the knocking had been going on since I started taking naps out in the parking lot. I thought there was something wrong with my air conditioner, but the funny thing was, it never happened any other place besides when I was parked in the nursing home lot. Anyway, I only had a couple more days working there because I had taken another job working as a med tech at a nearby hospital. On my last day there, I bought a rose on the way in, and as I was leaving, I laid it in the grass next to my parking space. Kind of a thank you for watching out for me, and not letting me sleep over my break.
wow. Pretty amazing story. And she was not the only one to see that. Many others claimed seeing that. How could this be possible? Let's hear it in comment, guys, with #3, so that we can know what we are talking about. Anyways, that's all for this episode of Quora Ghost Stories. We will come up soon with next episode of Ghost Stories. Do not forget to like and follow for more amazing content. Until then, see you all. Bye bye.